All right, let's kick off another deep dive. Today, we're going to untangle a story that's got it all. Family drama, ancient legal systems, and, well, a twist you might not see coming.
Oh, I love a good twist.
We're diving into the Book of Ruth, and, you've shared some excerpts from a document simply titled Untitled Document.
It is a fascinating text. I mean,
Right.
what makes the story of Boaz and Ruth so compelling is that it offers us this glimpse into ancient Israelite society and all the complexities of their customs and their beliefs.
Right. We've got this land transaction with some seriously high stakes, a cultural practice that involved footwear. I know you'll have to hear it to believe it.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
And a genealogy that ties directly into one of the biggest names in Israelite history.
Yeah, and that's precisely what we're going to explore, right? The significance of these seeming, well, disparate elements. How did their understanding of family and responsibility and redemption, how did all that shape their lives and ultimately their history?
It's a big question.
It is.
So let's start by setting the scene in Bethlehem. We're introduced to Boaz, a wealthy landowner, and Ruth, a Moabite widow, who we find gleaning in his fields. Now, for those who may not be familiar, gleaning was this practice that allowed the poor and widowed to gather leftover grain after the harvest. What was the social significance of that practice?
Well, gleaning, it wasn't just about charity. It was a carefully structured system woven into the fabric of their society. I mean, it was a way to ensure the survival of the most vulnerable. Yeah, but it also reveals a lot about their concept of communal responsibility. That balance, that delicate balance between individual wealth and collective well-being.
Yeah, it's a fascinating concept. And in this context, right, we meet Ruth, a Moabite widow,
Yeah.
gleaning in Boaz's fields. She's clearly in a precarious position, but what I find really intriguing is that she's also a foreigner.
Right, and that's a crucial detail. Remember, this is a time when tribal identity and lineage are paramount. So the fact that she's a Moabite
Yeah.
adds another layer of complexity to her situation. Yeah.
I'm already sensing some societal tension there. Now we learn that Ruth is deeply devoted to her mother-in-law, Naomi, who is also a widow. They're both facing a difficult situation, as the land belonging to Naomi's deceased husband, Elimelech, is up for sale.
Hmm.
And this is where the concept of the guardian redeemer comes into play. And it's far more nuanced than just a legal term. The guardian redeemer was often a close relative who stepped in to protect the family line and property of someone who had died.
Yeah, absolutely. It wasn't it wasn't just about acquiring land. It was about upholding a family's legacy and ensuring their continued place within the community.
Right. So it's not just about acquiring land, it's about upholding a family's legacy and ensuring their continued place within the community.
Exactly. It was this deeply ingrained social and legal mechanism that speaks volumes about their understanding of kinship and inheritance and the importance of lineage. I mean, it's huge.
So in this case, right, Boaz, being a relative of Naomi's deceased husband, is in a position to become their guardian redeemer. But it's not automatic, is it?
Not at all. Not at all. There are legal complexities, other potential candidates, and a whole set of social implications to consider. And that's where the narrative takes us to the town gate, the central public space where legal and social matters were often settled.
It's like a stage is being set for a drama to unfold,
Yeah.
and there's another potential redeemer who enters the picture.
Right.
Hmm.
Which really highlights the fact that this wasn't just a straightforward inheritance practice. It could involve negotiation
It's competition.
and potentially difficult choices. Imagine the weight of this decision, not just for those directly involved, but for their families and future generations.
Yeah, and it makes you realize just how interconnected their lives were and how these decisions, weren't taken lightly. So what happens when Boaz and this other potential redeemer meet at the town gate?
Well, Boaz carefully outlines the situation, explaining that acquiring the land also entails taking on the responsibility of marrying Ruth, the Moabite widow.
Hold on. Marrying Ruth is part of the deal. Now that changes things significantly.
It certainly adds a fascinating wrinkle, right?
Right.
Now imagine you're this other redeemer, initially willing to step up, but suddenly faced with this added layer of responsibility. What kind of thoughts would be racing through your mind?
It raises so many questions. It's not just about the land anymore. It's about bringing a foreigner, a Moabite, into your family line.
And the implications are enormous, particularly given the societal emphasis on lineage and tribal purity.
So how does the other potential redeemer react to this?
Well, he hesitates. He realizes that taking on both the land and the responsibility of marrying Ruth could jeopardize his own inheritance and the purity of his lineage.
Wow, that's a major turning point in the story. It really highlights the social and cultural weight of Ruth's foreign status.
Exactly. It's a powerful reminder of the societal norms and potential prejudices of that time.
And what does this tell us about Boaz? What's his response to all of this?
Well, despite the potential social consequences, Boaz remains unwavering in his commitment to both Naomi and Ruth.
So he's willing to risk his own social standing and potentially jeopardize his lineage by marrying Ruth. That's a pretty bold move. What motivates him to make such a decision?
It's a question that really gets to the heart of Boaz's character and the deeper themes of the story. Is it purely out of compassion for Naomi and Ruth, or is there something more at play here? What does this decision reveal about his understanding of justice, duty, and perhaps even his own personal beliefs?
Those are great questions. I'm already seeing how this story goes beyond a simple land transaction. It's about challenging societal norms, grappling with personal convictions, and understanding the complexities of these ancient customs. And I'm sure there's even more to uncover as we dive deeper.
Absolutely. This is just the beginning of our exploration. So we left off with Boaz standing at the town gate, you know, ready to make a decision that could have far-reaching consequences. He's committed to becoming the guardian redeemer, but the question is, how does this transaction actually happen?
Right. Yeah. I'm all ears. We know that land ownership was a huge deal back then, and I imagine there were specific rituals or legal processes to make it official.
You're absolutely right. And this is where that intriguing custom involving a sandal comes into play. It might seem bizarre to us today, but in ancient Israel, removing a sandal was a symbolic act laden with legal and social significance.
Okay, you got my attention. What exactly did this sandal removal symbolize in the context of this land transaction?
Okay, so imagine this. The town gate bustling with activity, witnesses gathered, and the tension, hanging in the air. When the other potential redeemer removes his sandal, he's not just taking off a shoe. He's making a public declaration. It's akin to signing a legal document today, a binding agreement witnessed by the community.
So it's not just a quirky tradition, it's a legally binding act. And in this case, it signifies that the other redeemer is forfeiting his claim to both the land and to Ruth.
Precisely. The sandal acts as this tangible representation of the transfer of rights and responsibilities. It's a powerful visual that really underscores the gravity of the situation.
And with that simple act, Boaz steps into the role of guardian redeemer. What are the immediate consequences of this transaction, both for Boaz and for Ruth?
Well, first and foremost, Boaz acquires the land that belonged to Naomi's deceased husband, ensuring its preservation within the family line. But as we know, the agreement goes beyond a simple land purchase. Boaz also takes Ruth as his wife, fulfilling that second aspect of the guardian redeemer's role.
And let's not forget the social implications of this union. He's marrying a Moabite woman, someone considered an outsider in their society. This speaks volumes about Boaz's character, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. He's not just fulfilling a legal obligation. He's making a conscious choice that challenges societal norms. And this act of defiance, this willingness to embrace someone from outside their community, it has profound implications, not just for their personal lives, but for their lineage and their place within that society.
It makes you wonder, what were people saying about this union? Was Boaz praised for his compassion and adherence to the law? Or was he criticized for bringing a Moabite into the fold?
That's an excellent question, and unfortunately the text doesn't give us much insight into the community's reaction, but it's certainly something to ponder. The silence in a way speaks volumes. It leaves us to grapple with the complexities of their societal norms and the potential conflicts that Boaz's decision might have created.
And it adds another layer of depth to the narrative,
Yeah.
right? Inviting us to explore not just the legal and religious aspects of this story, but also the human side of it, the personal struggles, the societal pressures, and the courage it took for Boaz to follow through with with his commitment.
Exactly. And this act of redemption, it isn't just about land or legal obligations. It's about human connection, compassion, and challenging those boundaries of what's considered acceptable. It's a story that resonates through time, reminding us that even in ancient societies, individuals had the power to challenge the status quo and make choices that went against the grain.
And speaking of going against the grain, this decision leads to something truly remarkable: the birth of a son, Obed. Not only does Boaz secure the family's property and lineage, but he also brings new life and hope into their lives.
And this birth is celebrated with great joy, not just by Naomi and Ruth, but by the entire community. The text tells us that the women of Bethlehem praise the Lord for providing a redeemer for Naomi and for ensuring the continuation of the family line.
It's a powerful moment that highlights that collective relief and joy that ripples through the community. And I can't help but think that this celebration might have been tinged with a hint of surprise. After all, this child, Obed, is not just the son of Boaz, he's also the grandson of a Moabite woman.
That's a really insightful observation. It makes you wonder, did this child, born from a union that defied societal expectations, become a symbol of something new, something that transcended their traditional notions of lineage and identity?
It's fascinating to think about how Obed's birth might have challenged those deeply ingrained beliefs. And this brings us to the part of the story that initially caught my eye: the genealogy that links Obed to one of the most prominent figures in Israelite history.
Right. We've been so engrossed in the personal and social aspects of this story that we almost forgot about the larger historical implications. Are you ready to make the connection?
Absolutely. I'm eager to see how this seemingly personal story unfolds into something with far greater significance.
Well, hold on to your hats because here it comes.
Mhm.
Obed, the son of Boaz and Ruth, becomes the father of Jesse, who in turn becomes the father of King David.
Wow, talk about a family legacy. We've gone from a land transaction and a sandal removal to the lineage of one of the most famous kings in history.
It's mind-blowing, isn't it? It's a seemingly simple act of redemption sets in motion a chain of events that reverberates through generations, ultimately leading to the rise of a dynasty.
It makes you wonder if Boaz had any inkling of the impact his decision would have. Did he foresee this extraordinary lineage unfolding from his act of kindness?
It's impossible to know for sure, but it raises some fascinating questions about fate, free will, and the interconnectedness of our choices.
This story has taken so many unexpected turns, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts on its broader implications. What does the story of Boaz, Ruth, and Obed tell us about ancient Israelite society, and how does it resonate with us today?
It really is incredible to think that an act of personal redemption could have such far-reaching historical consequences. We often view history as this grand narrative shaped by kings and conquests, but this story reminds us that individual choices, even those seemingly insignificant ones, they can ripple through time and alter the course of events. Yeah. It really challenges us to reconsider the forces that shape history, doesn't it? It's not always about sweeping political movements or military might. Sometimes it's the quiet acts of courage, compassion, integrity that set in motion the most extraordinary transformations.
And in this case, right, that transformation led to the rise of King David, a pivotal figure who shaped the destiny of a nation. It makes you wonder about the countless other untold stories, those seemingly ordinary lives that might have played a role in shaping the world we know today.
It is a humbling thought, isn't it? It reminds us that history is not just a collection of names and dates. It's the sum total of human experiences, choices, and actions, both grand and seemingly insignificant. And within those individual stories, we often find the most profound lessons about ourselves and our shared humanity.
Well, this deep dive has been an incredible journey, weaving together personal drama, social customs, legal complexities, and ultimately historical significance. It's made me think about the story of Boaz and Ruth in a whole new light.
Absolutely. It's a story that continues to resonate with us precisely because it touches upon those timeless themes of family and responsibility, redemption, and the enduring power of human connection. It challenges us to consider how our own actions, however small, might ripple through time and influence the course of events in ways we can't even imagine.
As we wrap up this deep dive, I'm left with a sense of awe and a renewed appreciation for the power of storytelling. This this ancient narrative has given us a glimpse into a world vastly different from our own, yet the emotions, the struggles, the triumphs, they still resonate with us today.
It's a testament to the enduring power of these shared human experiences, and it serves as a reminder that even in the face of adversity, hope, compassion, and love can prevail.
So to our listener, we encourage you to reflect on the story of Boaz and Ruth. How do these themes of kinship, redemption, and legacy manifest in your own life? What choices can you make today that will shape the narrative of your family and your community?
Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep into the rich tapestry of history and human experience. There are countless stories waiting to be discovered, each one offering its own unique perspective and wisdom.
Until next time, happy deep diving.